still light, all day light, all night light, on the blue light, on fist light, big fist light, this wild light, house call light, and the sound light, and the sound light, and the sound light.
Becoming a colonel in the U.S. Army, leader of the Rough Riders, the president of the New York City Board of Police Commissioners, and the 26th president of the United States. And even with all those accomplishments under his belt, President Roosevelt was nowhere near done. In the early years of football, around 1905 to be exact, it was a real dark time for the game. That year alone, 19 people passed away playing the game, and 137 had serious injuries. It was so bad they had people calling it in the newspaper the death harvest. And because of that, people wanted it gone. One of the guys, actually could be argued that he was the guy that was spearheading this entire campaign to end football altogether. His name was Charles Eliot. He was the president of Harvard, and he believed that the game was too violent, too brutal for gentlemen. In schools like Harvard and a couple of other universities, were either eliminating the program altogether or replacing it with rugby. And this thing started getting traction real quick. You know, there was a lot of people who were against football. But it's funny how things work out, because they made so much noise that I'm pretty sure that they were not expecting what happened next. And I would have loved to have been a fly on the wall when all these guys found out that of all people that could have spoken out against them and saying that football needed to stay, it was the president of the United States. Teddy Roosevelt had strong feelings about his case for football. So much, in fact, that he like I said, he is the president at this point. But he is stopping all that to say, hey, look now, football doesn't need to go anywhere. In his own words, Roosevelt said, I believe in rough games and in rough manly sports. I do not feel any particular sympathy for the person who gets battered about a good deal, so long as it's not fatal. Now, this is just me paraphrasing, of course. But looking at that statement and listening to that statement, Teddy looked at him and said, this is a man's game. And you know what? I know this is going to come as a surprise, but I agree with the man 1,000%. Football is the ultimate team sport. It brings individuals together for one common goal, and if one person doesn't do what they're supposed to do, the whole line fails. It's just that simple. How can you not learn from the game of football? Is it a pretty sport? Absolutely not. It's not designed to be pretty. If you want pretty, go watch baseball or basketball. But football was made to bring, like I said, bring men together, one goal, and as to go through the other guys on the other side of that ball and to take them down. The problem is the fatalities, the injuries. So what can be done to make the game safer? Which I understand wholeheartedly. You would want to make the game safe. That's something that's being preached even to this day, to make the game safer for the men that play the game. But that does not mean you eliminate something simply because you view it's not safe. As long as they're not just taking a hand grenade, throwing it in the air, and running around like a bunch of idiots talking about, hey, as soon as it lands, y'all stay here. Let's see who can survive it. No one's doing that. So needless to say, Teddy Roosevelt's back was against the wall, but the dude held his ground. He held a meeting with coaches and members of the board, everyone that had anything to do with football, whether they were pro or con. They brought them together to get on the same page and to come up with a scheme and all these ideas and rules to make the game safer. These sit-downs and these meetings and these all concluded with things like the forward pass finally being legalized in the game of football, and the first down distance being made 10 yards, and the neutral zone, which was that's a big step for them, because before they were just right on top of each other. Football was a lot like rugby, but people were dying. So they had the neutral zone, so they don't know. On one side is offensive line and the other side is defensive line. Have that space, and they don't move until that bar is hiked, and then all hell breaks loose. But it started there. Not to mention the whole thing with the first down, second down, and third down. Get 3 chances to get the first down. After that, fourth down, you can punt. Or, of course, these days, sometimes some of these teams go for it. And although issues still kept coming as time went on, with Teddy Roosevelt's help, football was able to endure and evolve as time went on. Even to this day, we're still making changes to the game to make it safer and more fun. But there's nobody that can tell me that football needs to be getting rid of altogether because it's not safe. That's just telling me that you're afraid. That's all that says to me. And I am thankful. I can't speak for you guys, but I'm entirely thankful that back in the day when it was almost gone, one man spoke up and changed everybody's mind to not only have the college level of football, but to now having a pro league of football. This is the greatest sport in America. That may be biased, but that's my truth.
I wish to see you boys act as good citizens in the same way I'd expect any one of you to act in a football game. In other words, don't